Good morning, everybody. Welcome back for another special edition of Investing Bros. We will have a shorter show today, but we got to come to you live. How about that Bitcoin pumping this morning, and crypto is not far behind as a whole. It is a great day to be here. It's a great day to be an investing bro. We got a very special show lined up for you guys today because while we are missing our good friend Army Piper, who is with us in chat, it is still going to be me and T. Shroom and one other special guest that you don't want to go anywhere. I'm going to announce that here in just a second. You don't want to miss it. But before we do that, go ahead and smash that like button. If you are new here, subscribe to the channel for more amazing crypto, Bitcoin, stocks, everything content that we do here. And man, does it feel good this morning. Listen, guys, I've told you this before. I'm going to tell you guys when I'm wrong. When I call something wrong, I will be the first person. You probably won't even know I got it wrong. I'm going to tell you I got it wrong. But boy, it feels good to be right. And that is exactly what's happening this morning. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. But first, I do got to introduce my co-host for today. We're back to the OG crew here. It's just me and T. Shroom. T. Shroom, how are you doing this morning?
Better than I deserve, Tim. Much better. And I'm producing the show today. It's interesting to be back in the seat. Yesterday, I was on ATB and using the virtual cam, so you probably saw this exact background on ATB if you were watching, and if you were, thank you so much. Had a lot of fun, and I got the dub over there. 29 points, beat TJ, of all people. So DZ was really proud of me, and I live for DZ's affirmations. So it was a lot of fun. Well, I've got a quote today, and it is from none other than Mark Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg said, "Move fast and break things. Unless you are breaking stuff, you are not moving fast enough." That is from your boy, Mark Zuckerberg. Not everybody loves him, but a lot of people like him. He's Mark Zuck. What do you think about him, Tim?
You know, I agree. Not everybody necessarily likes him, but he's clearly a very smart individual. And, you know, he's built some great stuff that I think people really like. And so let's not hate on him too much. I don't love everything about Meta. I'm not really a Facebook user much anymore. And I think Instagram's on its way out. But what a run. What a run for Zuckerberg. It was very appreciated for him. So thank you so much, Zuckerberg, for everything you've done. We would introduce at this point Piper, but he's not here. He is on his way right now as we speak, I believe, with Crux of Crypto in the car, and I see them coming in chat. So Piper, maybe I shouldn't see you comment too often because I do believe you are driving on your way to Austin, where T-Shroom will be meeting you guys this evening. On the other hand, though, we do have a special guest in office, and you guys are going to love it. But here's the thing. I need to see 100 likes and 2 more. Share my screen real quick here, T-Shroom. Yesterday was quite the day. ATB was represented well by Investing Bros. T-Shroom absolutely killed it. His win ratio over there is kind of deadly, kind of scary to me. I'm really jealous.
I've never lost.
But yeah, between that and then we also had a nice day yesterday. I got to go on Paul Barron's show. We are 2 subscribers away from 3,100. So here's the deal. Beamer is in office today, sitting at my feet. But if you want to see the Beamer, because he is also a part of this pump, he's been calling this, you've got to get us to 3,100 subscribers. Not hard to do. That just means 2 of you who have not subscribed yet need to subscribe. And then we need to get to 100 likes. This is only going to be like a 40-minute show. So it is a tall task. You guys got to get in here. You got to get the likes. You got to, get more accounts up here. Tell your friends and family to get on here and smash the like button. And if you guys can accomplish that, Beamer will make an appearance. Again, he is at my feet, but I'm not going to tease it too much. Got to get those likes up. With that said, let's go ahead and jump on over and read some names here, and then we will be getting into our content as usual. Our first comments of the day were from Mr. J once again. So that's 2 days in a row for him. Congratulations to Mr. J. And right behind him was one of our amazing, what do we call them? The blue wrenches. I've completely just blanked on what we call the moderators. There we go. Haven't said the word moderator in a minute. But Cryptex is right behind him. So congratulations to the 2 of you. Also, we got Army Piper right there with the blue wrench too. And again, hoping he's not driving too much while texting. Maybe he's at a red light or something. Spee is here with the 3 E's. Elliot Locke is here. Before I keep going, though, we do got to give 3 special shout outs. 3 different people, either yesterday or today, had birthdays. Let me know if it was your birthday as well, and we got to 4. But Ninja Glock, Joe Nickel, and CBD Suddy. I believe CBD Suddy's birthday was yesterday, but Joe Nickel and Ninja Glock, I believe today is their birthday. So happy birthday to you guys. So glad you guys are choosing to tune in on your birthday. That makes me feel really special. With that said, let's read some more names here, though. Justin Eubanks is here. Mike Play. Crypto Pew Pew Cruz, love to see it. There we go. Joe Nickel in chat, of course, but he had to tell us there for his birthday. Bob is here, which I thought was really funny. We got a comment yesterday, someone critiquing that. I guess they just don't like our intro, but they're like, I didn't tune into a crypto show to hear you guys just banter and then introduce us to Bob. Well, guess what, Bob? You are that special. We're introducing you. And if people don't like it, I'm sorry. But I like Bob. Brian D is here. Ninja Glock, of course, on the birthday. Crypto JMP, Eric Wallen. Who else do we have here? Mick 41510. Love to see here. Gia S. No. Oh man, I forgot already. What do we say? Donato Cabrera?
Potato.
He told us what it was, and I already forgot. I'm so sorry, Cabrera, Donato. Philly Skills 1428. We're gonna keep on rolling on through here. Who else do we have? Win Peoples is here. Grand Roofing Incorporated. Get a couple more here, and then we'll move in. Crypto Military Vet. Ebb and Flow Crypto. Moon Boy is here. Crux of Crypto, as we said before. Crypto Trades is here, and get a couple more. Crypto Trucker Mike. Love seeing it. Alton Henderson. And the last one, last two, the Kid Coming, or Co-MN, and Josh Denham. Welcome, everybody. If I did not read your name, I'm so sorry. It does not mean I don't love you. It is just time to go ahead and jump into our juicy content. Normally, we throw it to Piper for our macroeconomic outlook. What I will say today, though, is we're not going to have a macroeconomic outlook. The most important thing, though, remembering is that this Friday, we will see PCE numbers. And remember, we've been talking about how, I've given my hot take that something is going to happen that changes the mind of the Fed, and we're going to see a pause in the interest rate hikes. We could see the PCE numbers be a very key part of that. Another part of it, we're going to talk later on in the stream, is the potential collapse. It's not official just yet, but the First Republic Bank not looking good. And if you go to my screen here, T-Shroom, we're starting to see a little momentum. It's at 80. Let me refresh this just to make sure this is 100% correct. There we go. Okay, 77. I saw 76 earlier, but we are now down to a prediction for 25 basis points. Hey, Beamer, don't mess with that. He's messing with the green screen. Can't take this kid anywhere. He's good at Bitcoin, but he's a menace to society sometimes. We're at 77% right now, saying that we're still going to get 25 basis points, but we're starting to see these things shift a little bit. Is someone saying I'm back to Pixel Tim?
No, you look great.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take that I look good here. So this is something to keep our eyes on. Again, First Republic getting the ball rolling a little bit. Maybe Friday comes out and that PCE is doing its job, and we're going to see the Fed potentially pivot and say, all right, it's time to go ahead. And for the first time in well over a year, we're going to not raise interest rates when we have the opportunity to. So let's keep our eyes fixed on that. We did not really get too much of a chance. Let me refresh this page, but the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index only up to 56. I guarantee you guys that we're going to see this back up towards 60 tonight. With how Bitcoin is pumping right now, you absolutely know that people are getting a lot more confident. But this is really crazy. This is part of what we talked about here. I'm really trying to not necessarily ride too high on my britches, but when you get things right, especially when others are calling wrong. I don't know if you guys were watching other crypto YouTube yesterday, except for after the rally happened. If you were watching morning shows or early afternoon shows, I saw so many analysts. And by the way, analysts that I love and I respect, and I think they're awesome, and they have been making great calls. But the whole sentiment, not only in retail and not only like on Twitter, but even influencers started to shift a little bit. They started to say, this is looking like a dump. And we decided, no, we're going to continue to hold on to our plan. This is what we called. We called for this dip to come down. And sure enough, we have been rallying like crazy over the last, 15 hours. I'm not even quite sure how long it has been. But let's go ahead and jump over to that chart, that Bitcoin chart. Let's see. This rally, I don't know if you really could say we took off here yesterday at noon, because that just kind of got us back up to the zone. The real momentum started yesterday around 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time yesterday was the time that started off this nice rally we have going on in Bitcoin. And this morning, depending on what chart you're looking at, I don't know if the Bitcoin index, so this one kind of measures everything. It officially touched 30,000. Coinbase definitely touched 30,000 this morning. T. Schumer and I were talking about it. We're like, we're going to hit 30,000 while we're live on the show. And then we went ahead and did it before the show even went live. But currently we're hovering around 29,870. But here we go, guys. Anyone who maybe is just joining here, this is a yellow box. Let them know in chat, everybody. This yellow box has been here since last Friday, going back to this big wick we had back on April 3rd during a little bit of a sideways move here on Bitcoin. When you look at this next to, I think I had it actually set up this morning because I did a tweet on this. Is this Bitcoin? I think this is Bitcoin back. What is this? 2023. All right, so it didn't do it for me. I don't want to reset that way. I'm just going to go back to 2019. Let's go back over here, guys. Once again, those of you who've been watching the show for a while, you're going to be like, oh, here goes Tim back to 2019. Sure enough, that's exactly what I'm doing. Let me get my replay back on here. We're going to go back, and I want to get rid of some of this stuff so that I can get to the 4-hour chart very, very easily. As you guys can see, 2019 right there. It's a proof in the pudding. Let's go and zoom in on here. This was the rally we have been talking about for weeks now. Back in 2019, that everything is happening so similar. Again, I'll refresh it. You guys are going to memorize my take at this point because I've gotten to say it so many times, whether on this show or other shows. But man, is it coming true. Just like last time, we had, I think we got the daily chart. 2019, let's do this whole refresher. 2017, we have the top of our bull market. We start to head down, and then we have a little bit of room saying like, oh no, okay, are we gonna have an end? We have a descending triangle. So technical analysts knew we were gonna go down a little further, but a lot of people thought, okay, are we gonna bottom out here at 5,800? Well, then a catalyst takes it. We have one last level of resistance, and then we break down to what became the bottom of the bear market. We traded sideways down there for a little bit before some momentum came back in, but sure enough, we came up, we blew through that former level of resistance. This is when you could have made the sign and say, all right, bear market over. We're finally setting higher highs again after not setting a higher high for a very long time. We came ahead and pumped up, but after breaking through this level of resistance, we pumped through, had a little bit of a sideways movement. This one, I'm going to go back down to the 4-hour chart for you guys. We kind of had a sideways movement here for a couple of weeks, made a very small momentum pump, moved sideways, dumped back down to where, oh, look at this. The sideways movement, last level of support. These wicks down here, creating this yellow box. We came back down, tested them sideways, turned the 4-hour dynamic reactor red after it had been green for a while, went sideways, and then exploded back through it and went on our way all the way up to 13,800, which in a more macro outlook is the golden pocket. Let me go back to the daily chart here. Boom. Was the golden pocket from the top of the bull market down to the bottom of the bear market. Bam. This is what we did back in 2019. But you guys can see I kind of cut it off here. Guess what happened? This was not a bull market. If I let this play out, the price shoots all the way back down to former resistance, back down here at 6,500 or so. Play a little faster for me there, price. I did not think you were going to be this slow. Holy cow. It's keep going. There we go. Comes back down and tests it. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and stop it right there, guys. I'm going to cancel this out because that'll make it a little easier to see. You guys know we had the pandemic that sent us down lower, black swan event. But if it had not been for that pandemic, we would have come back down to this former level of resistance and turned it into support before the real bull market started later on in 2020. Why am I saying all this? Again, so most of you guys have heard this spiel, but let's go ahead and go back over to current day. Here we go. Guess what we have, guys? We got a top of the bull market back here in November 2021. We start setting these lower highs, lower lows, but then before this point, because remember, this was FTX debacle. A lot of people thought that maybe potentially this 17,900, $18,900 level. A lot of people thought that could be the bottom because we kind of flattened out here, just like we did back in 2018, actually, technically. However, we get our big news. We get that big bump. We have one last level of resistance. Let's go back to that one. Last level resistance right here. Boom, before the big dump happened, 25,200. We have this big dump down here. We move sideways for just a little bit. We start to rally up. We did do something a little different. We did hit our heads on this level first. Before we could really make any type of real move, we hit our head on this last level of firm resistance. Then we ended up breaking through. And then once again, just like I said before in 2019, boom. We get our sideways move, one last good wick, get a small pump up to 30,000, convincing everybody watching, hey, this is it. This is the top. We had a lot of bear technical analysts saying, there we go, guys, 31,000, 30,000, 31,000. That's it. It's a bull trap. Get out now. Sure enough, the price starts to let loose, and we watch the sentiment of everybody just kind of shift from being super excited and bullish to being bearish. But we said, watch this repeat. We've been repeating it ever since back here at the bottom of this bear market. We've been repeating 2019. Watch us pull back down to these levels. Watch us convince people we're done, and then we're going to skyrocket up. The other thing about 2019, I'm not going to go back because I'm probably getting you guys dizzy going all over the screen. There, we had an 85% rally in Bitcoin in 2019 in a period of 16 days after this little dip right here. What is the point I'm trying to make here? I am still long-term bullish, but intermediate term, I'm kind of mixed here. Because while I do think we're going to hit that golden pocket, let's go back to the daily chart. While I do think that Bitcoin is going to have a nice run up towards 48 to 50,000. Let me show you guys. Right there. Boom. I think we can make it all the way up here. But I think just like 2019, we end up coming back down. We end up sitting and people convinced this is the bull market. It does not happen. We rally up here. We come back down to 25.2, just like we did back in 2019. And then we trade a little sideways. And then the real bull market starts early 2024. That prediction, I have been saying that, everybody, since we were down here at about $16,000. I've been talking about this coincidence of what we're seeing, the history repeat itself. And until I see something change my mind, I'm going to hold fast to this. I'm just not going to change my opinion. And I guarantee you, even just watching the stories, this is another thing. Like I said, I don't even think this part of my prediction is fully verified just yet. But those of you who have been watching, remember last week when I said, I don't know what's going to happen, but some story, some catalyst is going to come in and it's going to shift this entire space. Don't want you right now, Marker. It's going to shift this entire space. We're going to go back bullish and we're going to see the price go to the upside. Well, guess what, guys? Just as I'm going to predict that's going to happen, I think that's coming true. I think that could be First Republic Bank. We'll have to see. I think combination of PCE and First Republic Bank, that could be our bullish catalyst. But do not be surprised. What's going to happen is there's going to be a bunch of bullish stories as we start getting up here closer to 48,000, 50,000. And there's going to be a massive bullish story that says, hey, guys, you need to continue to get in. This is the bull market, and the price is going to reverse, and we're going to start coming back down. And then on our way down, when we get back down towards 36,000 or whatever, then we're going to see a bearish story and explain, oh, banks are okay. You need to trust your money. Crypto's not the answer. And that will be the FUD to get us back down here towards 25,200, where we'll ride for a little bit and before the real bull market starts. I know that was a lot of just throughout you. There's a lot of storytelling. There's a lot of stuff going in there. That's not traditional technical analysis. Guess what? Everyone needs to find out how to do technical analysis for themselves, but you also have to know how to read the news. You have to know how to read the fundamentals. You have to be prepared to think the way whales think. And guess what? What we're seeing happen is a great depiction of retail investors and people just trying to strictly read charts or news stories getting thrown around because they don't understand how manipulative whales work. This is how manipulative whales work. They're repeating history, but they're going to try to shake you off as best they can. That is what we have here for Bitcoin. Really quickly, before we move on here, T-Shirt, what time is it? I said I was going to be shorter today, but I think I went a little longer than I thought. We're at 9:20. We got some time here. Let's take a look at what Ethereum is doing really quickly. Ethereum did almost the exact same thing that we predicted. It came down here to our yellow box, went a little bit below. So Ethereum did go below our predicted box right here. So sorry, guys, I was wrong. It didn't stop out at 18,020. It stopped out at about 18,000 exactly. So I was wrong. My apologies, but Ethereum is now back to going back over our dynamic reactor here on the 4-hour chart, turning it back green. Cardano up here over 41%. Cardano didn't get as low. I put this box here saying top range 38 cents, bottom range 37 cents. It only needed to get to 37.7. So you can call it a mixed bag. Tim maybe didn't call it perfectly. He was close. I don't know. But we're bouncing right now back up to 41%. But I want you guys to notice here the momentum, too, of Bitcoin versus these other two. And this is the last thing I'm going to throw it to T-Shroom. to start into some stories before we might do some stocks here a little bit later. But let's look at Fibonacci on these shorter time frames right here. Bitcoin right now hovering right, it got above the golden pocket. We're looking close to getting into this platinum pocket. So Bitcoin, even though you guys might look at these numbers and say, Tim, Bitcoin's only up 5% of the day, where we have, let's see, Cardano, okay, I guess it is up higher than these ones as well, but we had some other ones. Cody up 9%. Earlier this morning when I was looking, it had Cardano and Ethereum up higher than Bitcoin. But I want you guys to just see the momentum wave that's shifting right now. The Bitcoin dominance is going to the upside. Another thing we talked about is going to happen. It's another sign that this is not a bull market. When you're having a rally, but Bitcoin's leading and the dominance is growing, that's a good sign that this just isn't the right time for a bull market. Kind of backs up my scenario of why we're getting up to 48,000, but then we'll plummet back down, crypto, altcoins included. If I were to take a look at Ethereum, let's take a look what it's doing. It, I don't believe, is even back up to 50%. Is it back to 50? It's not quite to 50% just yet. We're kind of flirting down there, but nowhere close to where Bitcoin was. Last one, Cardano. Again, very bullish on all three of these. However, it's not yet to 50%. So we're watching right now a special run for Bitcoin. And again, this meets everything we talked about back in 2019. I guess I'll show you this last time just in case people are oh, look at that. Bitcoin back up to 48%. Let's go back all the way over here, guys, to the same timeline that this pre-bull market run happened. We're talking about February to June of 2019. Look at this right here. February's back right in here. We started off with a little bit of a dip, but look at how during this time period that we had this not bull market, but pre-bull market rally, the Bitcoin dominance climbed. Guess what we're seeing happen right now, guys? A week ago, 2 weeks ago, we saw Bitcoin outdo a long resistance level that started all the way back in July of 2021. We're back above that level of resistance after falling back below it. I'm still holding, guys. Watch as Bitcoin continues to climb. We're going to get Bitcoin back over 50%, and that is not a sign of a bull market. We're going to see that happen. It's going to keep climbing as every price comes crashing back down. And then December of 2023, January, February of 2024, watch that dominance start to fall as all the crypto prices start to increase again. That is your sign. That is your trigger. The bull market is here. It's time to start getting into where you want to be and then just sit and wait and watch the profits just roll in day after day after day. Guys, this was non-traditional TA, but I hope it was a lot of fun because it was a lot of fun to talk through it. We're about to transition into some stories here early, and then we'll get to stocks later because today's only about a 40-minute show. But remember, special guest in the audience. Some of you guys joined late. Beamer's in the room with me. I'm giving him a test. If you guys see my Wi-Fi go off or a light go crazy, it's because Beamer tripped on a cord. I'm not going to show him to you, though, unless we get up to 3,100 subscribers and 100 likes. We got 150 people watching. So you guys could accomplish this literally in the next like 10 seconds. Easily. But I got to see 100 likes happen before the show is over. And you guys will get to see the Beamer cam. Again, if you guys don't know who Beamer is, he is the expert on chart movements. He calls almost everything correctly. It is ridiculous. With that said, T-Shroom, let's start off with that First Republic article because I think that one's really juicy, really interesting. I want to dive in and see what's happening there.
Tim, let's do it. Diving right into that. Bitcoin price jumps in the wake of First Republic Bank price crash. Guys, this is a big story. Here at the market open, we're going to go over to the charts and see how First Republic opens. It's scheduled to come in at $7 per share in the pre-market trading there. But let's get into some of the details here. Bitcoin rallied immediately following Fox News business reporter Charles Gasparino breaking the news that bankers worked with First Republic Bank expect the institution to go into government receivership. This is the big news, guys. This is what happened to Silicon Valley Bank, and now Fox Business News is breaking that they are expecting, bankers working with the bank is expecting it to go into government receivership. This is huge news, guys. This is 100% why Bitcoin is rallying this morning and started yesterday evening. So this is really exciting news, guys, for sure. I really like the graphic here that Cointelegraph's got. It's got Bitcoin doing the pole vaulting. That's a lot of fun. So Tim, I think you've talked about it. You predicted it yesterday. It came true. We've been waiting on an event, and this was something that didn't really surprise anyone. We've kind of been waiting on this to happen, and here it is. So there's this, and there's some other stories we want to get to before we get into the market open here. We'll start with this one. The crypto must end anonymity for illicit finance. A U.S. regulator says that regulator is the CFTC, and this could be a new emerging story. I don't want to make it a bad omen and compare Christy Goldsmith Romero to Gary Gensler. I don't want to do that yet, but hopefully we will see what happens here. We'll have some deliberation, Tim and I, before we get too far into the stock market open. So let's read into the details here. Christy Goldsmith Romero, a commissioner at the U.S. Commodity Futures Trading Commission, said cryptocurrencies were being used to finance cybercrime, with victims including individuals, companies, hospitals, and critical infrastructure. Okay, so starting off pretty critical of cryptocurrencies, just in general. Fraud is a hallmark of digital asset markets, the human toll of which may be overlooked. It's essential for govs to particularly in the industry to address that which makes crypto so attractive to illicit finance, and that is the allure of anonymity. Hitting anonymity pretty hard there. Guys, I'm going to give my take on this in just a second. But let's get a little bit more of the details here. Congress is already considering new laws on addressing anonymity and digital identity. Romero has said in the last quote, it's possible for all crypto companies to distance themselves from mixers and anonymity enhancing technology while still providing customers financial privacy. So this is the big ticket here. This is where she's kind of getting to. You think Tornado Cash and think Bits Lotto. So this is not bad. This is going to be my initial take. This is not bad. I think what this is the CFTC back on the Brocam, Tim. I
got a beamer making sure he's not trying to unplug the cords.
No worries. But I think Christy Goldsmith over at the CFTC, what she's doing here is she's trying to reprioritize. She's trying to bring American crypto regulation and the momentum of that back on track, saying, hey, look, there's still a lot of issues with anonymity, and this is what we want to focus on. So, Tim, whether you disagree or agree with anonymity, what I think is happening here is the CFTC is trying to take the lead. They're trying to say, what Gary and the SEC over there has been focused on is, well, they haven't really been focused on much other than just like hiding all of their cards and not talking to anybody who issues any kind of notices, Coinbase. So I think what they're trying to do here is trying to get ahead of it. They're trying to take the lead, and and the first thing that they're focusing on is anonymity. Of course, we don't like to hear any kind of regulation, any kind of like encroaching on our crypto environment. But Tim, how does this ring to you? What does this sound like to you? Are you feeling fear, or are you seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with these remarks from Christy Goldsmith Romero?
Ultimately, this is noise, is what it is. So I'm not really feeling too strongly about it one way or the other. However, in terms of what it will affect, I do feel strongly about what she is saying, and I'm going to start by here's something that's really important. When you hear someone say something you disagree with, it's okay to disagree with people. But to just now say they're an idiot or be like, oh, this is just the dumbest thing in the world, you need to understand where people are coming from. That way you can kind of empathize with their points so that you can constructively give a good counterpoint. So I understand the concern. I'm not going to ignore. I'm not going to lie and say that people are not using crypto for nefarious things. That people are absolutely using crypto to get around and to get away and to be secret and to do crime. In the same way that people have used cash and US dollars are the same thing. So that's why it's one of those things that's like you're plugging the hole on the boat over here with a massive like a whole half of the ship is missing due to current fiat currency, but you're worried about the new hole being presented from cryptocurrency. It's a bad thought. The other part that I'm a little bit disturbed of is what happened. And again, I guess politics really haven't, government hasn't really operated this way, but what happened to innocent until proven guilty? This type of thought is just going ahead and assuming we need to assume everyone in crypto is a criminal. So therefore we need to check up on all of them, because that's what she's saying here. She's saying we don't need anonymous. We need to know what everybody is doing at all times so that we can keep them accountable and make sure there's no crime. Well, guess what? 99% of people who use cryptocurrency are doing nothing wrong. They're just trying to live their life, pay their bills, take care of their family. They're not doing anything. the decentralized aspect and the safety and security that can come with using cryptocurrency to protect yourself and your family should outweigh the fact that certain people will take advantage of it to be criminals. But that's the thing, is why are we treating the whole situation like people are guilty before we even can find out if they're innocent? We need to get back to a concept of understanding you are innocent until proven guilty. That's part of the founding of what the United States was built on, to build the justice system. So this is just a sign. If we go this direction, it's just further. Beamer. Oh, I saw the cord on the camera jiggling. That was a risky one. All right. Sorry, guys. This is a fun show. We need to. This would be a nail in the coffin on me, T-Shroom. Not that we are not suspecting this already, but if this is true, and if that's the rationale for why there's heavy regulation and there's a killing of anonymity to crypto in the United States, that is proof that they do not care about the Constitution. They do not care about the right to privacy. They do not care about the concept of you are innocent until proven guilty. This is a complete confirmation that they just want control over everything. And like I said, we already know this, but at least they try to keep the facade up. This, though, should be the wake-up call to everybody else. They want to know what's in your brain. They want to control your every single movement.
Yep, absolutely. Well, I think to summarize it, I think that the CFTC and Christy Goldsmith Romero, they have more a problem with crime than they do anonymity, and they just need to realize that. It's the problem that they're anonymity is not the problem. The problem is that people are criminals. They need to use all the tools and resources at their disposal to hunt down the criminals who are doing the crimes. And, you know, the reality is you can't get 100% of them, but that doesn't mean you take freedom away from the people. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the market open here, guys. But before we do, this was the moment yesterday. I just wanted to share this with you guys. This was the moment that I won on Around the Blockchain. Man, it was so much fun to be on there with DZ and TJ, and the crew had just an absolute blast. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at a company that's not having a blast today, and that's First Republic Bank. Goodness gracious, look at that another big gap down in pre-market, and that has opened up and is moving actually lower today as we are at the market open. Let's go ahead and check out our normal run through of the market, starting with energy. Natural gas down 4% and oil down 1.1%. So energy starting lower this morning. That's interesting that the front running futures contracts, that might have refreshed because that's green. So I would say on the whole, just disregard that. I'm not exactly sure why it's green. All right, taking a look here at the indexes, you're seeing green across the board, guys, and we're going to get to exactly why that is in a moment. And I give you a hint, it has to do with your boys over at Google and Microsoft having a big win in earnings. NASDAQ leading the way, up 0.9%, and the Dow Jones up 0.3%. So everybody getting a little bit of love there if you're in risk or if you're in security. Green across the screen for crypto. Cake still having a big bearish narrative cloud right over their head. We won't get to cover that story today. That was unfortunately one of the ones that got axed, but hopefully we will cover that a little bit more tomorrow. And I will tweet an article a little bit later of why Cake is down today. It's the only red name here on the otherwise sea of green here. Gala up almost 4%. You're seeing Matic up above 4%, 4.5% here. Cardano even further to the upside, up 4.8%. And your big boys here, Bitcoin and Ethereum, up 5% and 4% there respectively. Very, very big. And the futures contracts for Bitcoin, good Lord, up 8%. So they're the futures traders there are getting really excited about the movement there in Bitcoin. All right, metals also alternative currencies here moving to the upside quite a bit. Silver getting bought 1.3% to the upside. And then your mega cap tech stocks mixed. Actually very surprised to see Google down 0.9%. They had positive earnings here. They got beat. They had double beats on their revenue and their profitability, and yet they are down. Now they're down 1%. So I'm guessing, by the looks of it, where's that money rotating to? Anybody take any guesses where that money might be going to? Maybe the 7% upside in Microsoft is where that money's rotating into, guys. I'm excited because I'm a holder, very exposed to Microsoft. I believe in the thesis. And take a look at that freaking gap on the top weighted stock in the Dow Jones, the S&P, and the NASDAQ. That is going to be Microsoft getting a big freaking pump. All of that pretty much due to AI, guys. All of that due to AI and the fact that they're not in the ads business. I think one of the big reasons, we'll find out here in just a second, Google underperformed because people are just not buying ads at the same rate. You know how when you're on a third-party website, here, take a look at this. When you're on Reuters, right, there's these ads right here on the side banner. Apparently what was going on was that folks are not buying those ads. They're not using those services as aggressively from Google as they were before. So we're going to keep moving here. Taking a look at bonds. Bonds are pretty much tepid this morning. Not really much movement one way or the other, although oh, wow, the 2-year has ticked down below 4%. Interesting. Still have an inverted yield curve. You still aren't going to get lucky there. But also the Dixie of note. We'll check out the 2-year here in a second. But
the Dixie is dropping.
Yeah, Dixie is dropping
back
like
below,
a stone in the sea.
Back below 101.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to take a look over there at the Dixie really quickly, but let's look at the 2-year. Right here up against some major support. I don't have any of my indicators on. Let's see where I wanted to see where it is in proximity. I'm on the 4-hour. Let me go out to the daily. In proximity to that dynamic reactor, see exactly where it is. Yeah, so it has actually broken through this line of support here, and it's been trading back and forth on that. But ultimately, the 2-year, a pretty important note for the United States, and your benchmark here down 0.2%. So the big story there, though, the Dixie really getting throttled this morning, seeing a big sell-off, a big shed to the tune of 0.7%. May not sound like a lot. That's a lot for the Dixie. And it is coming back and playing with these lows in the discount range for the chart prime indicator. Really, really bullish stuff there as you see some weakness in the dollar. Goodness gracious, guys, we're even seeing cannabis green this morning. CGC up 0.7%. And then your mid caps green across the screen except for Workhorse, the EV battery maker, and then C3.ai even getting some love. They've been getting battered. Let's actually take a look really quickly where they are relative to that gap. Oof, yeah, so they've gapped down. They flipped that dynamic reactor red on the daily chart there. Not a good look for C3.ai, but guys, I gotta say, if you're looking for a stock that could potentially outperform in the next big AI pop in the headlines, C3.ai, not a bad name. But if you wanted to stay in crypto, you may want to go with this other one. I believe I've got it. Yeah, AGIX, and it's native to the Cardano blockchain. Just some hints, guys. There, just some cheat codes for you over there. 19% to the downside in our big bank section. Never thought you'd see that. That is. You know, we talk about it a lot. You know, we're comfortable with this, but this is shocking. This is very, very scary. This is a giant bank that I don't know what their spread is in terms of individuals and retail and like institutional, but this is structural insecurity, guys. This is not good. You don't want to see this in the American market, but we are, and this is why Bitcoin is getting bought like crazy. This is why gold and silver is getting bought like crazy, because of this right here. This should not be happening. This is what should be happening. This is a normal movement for banks, right? A down 0.4%. down 0.7%. That's normal movement. This is not. This is very troubling, and Jerome Powell has a lot to speak for here on this. So does Janet Yellen, and we're going to be hearing from them next week. We'll definitely see how that influences their decision making on those rates. Oil producers down. All right, that's going to wrap out our market open here, guys. Maybe we'll swing right back by the indexes really quick before we exit. Yes, still about the same. Dow Jones actually losing quite a bit there, and the NASDAQ still leading as money pours into Microsoft over there. A pretty interesting market open. Tim, anything jumping out at you there?
No, I mean, I think not really. The Microsoft stuff, because I don't necessarily follow it too much. But like we said earlier, this is something that when people ask, like, how did Tim predict that there was going to be a story that was a catalyst that Bitcoin would go back up? This has to do with when you're doing technical analysis. I don't know which comes first, but in this case, this definitely was the chart comes first. The charts were still showing we had room to the upside. The charts were still showing that we were not in a place where we were massively overbought. We were somewhat overbought, but there's still room to the upside. And I believe that institutions are going to come in. But what they want to do is they want to create FUD. And that's what this whole last week was. This dip, along with some bearish news, or more like, hey, everything's all right news. Like banks aren't as bad as what we thought. You can trust your current system. That FUD into the space was just to manipulate the price down to a level not low enough that even retail investors would say, oh, this is a good price. Like a lot of people were expecting 25,000. If we had gotten to 25,000, how many of you guys would have bought? Let me, like, even right now, like, how many of you guys would have said, all right, I'm going to take some more money at 25,000, I'm going to buy more because that's a good price. So why would they let the price get down to 25,000? They knew that if they let that happen, then all the retail would buy. So it's this game of like, how can we find that perfect middle level where we get to dip down and not buy 31,000, but we don't go all the way down to where even retail gets back to bullish. 27,000 is right there in that spot, and it was marked by that low wick. So sure enough, they're gonna mess with you. And I knew a news story was coming because no one was ready for it, but the price was ready to go back up. And I'm saying they're gonna blame a news story and say, oh, we didn't know that First Republic Bank was going to crash. How did we thought the price was still going down? They knew it. They knew that was going to happen. They knew that 27,000 was where they wanted to buy in at, and they want to pump the price up to the upside. But they got to play the narrative to keep as many retail investors out so that they can take the profits, not you. This is the simple game of there. I want you guys to know there are millions of people who trade cryptocurrency. There are millions of people who trade Bitcoin. There are millions of people who use technical analysis. There are millions of people who use fundamental analysis. When you can learn to think the way whales think, you do not have to be a whale. You don't have to own 100 Bitcoin. You can own 0.0001 Bitcoin, but if you can think the way that whales think and move the way they move, you're going to make some money in this game. And that's all. Like when people are saying, Tim, how did you call this? All I'm doing is sitting here trying to think, if I was a whale, if I had time and money to burn, if I could be very patient, if I could have some sort of control over the timing of narrative stories coming in and out, what would I do? And sure enough, this was exactly it. And it's playing out just perfectly the way I thought it would. That being said, though, that's why if anyone's asking why Tim said 27,000, why Tim said this pump was going to happen, why was Tim right? I didn't know First Republic. I didn't even know First Republic Bank was in trouble. I mean, I guess we could have known. I guess Jim Cramer last month said it was doing great, so that could have been a sign to everybody. But I didn't know. I had no idea First Republic Bank was in trouble. I just knew something was going to happen, and sure enough, it did. T-Shroom, before we get into our closeout, and we did get everything. We got our 3,100 subscribers. We're over 100 likes. We're going to have a beamer cam here in the conclusion. But is there any other stories you wanted to cover today, or is that about it for today?
Yeah, I'm going to do a lightning round here, guys. Going to go really quickly because there is some important stuff. First of all, we did get a positive economic print on the durable goods orders month over month. Was expected to be 0.6, and the previous was actually negative 0.1, negative 1.2. The actual print, 3.2. So definitely overperforming to the upside there. That is going to be bullish for the market. Just to probably will go unnoticed because there's already so much bullishness in the equities and the crypto side there. But some other notable things to consider also is that we've got Boeing came out and missed their earnings today. And then we have Meta coming out today. That's why I did the Mark Zuckerberg quote. Meta will be coming out, and their estimated is $27.61 billion. And so definitely be keeping an eye out for that. That is absolutely going to rock Facebook to the upside or the downside one way or another. So definitely be taking a look at that. But I mean, the other thing is just Google and Microsoft beat. They beat another major headline. Arbitrum airdropped 120 million worth of ARB tokens to 125 DAOs, signaling that Arbitrum definitely wants to have dApps built on their blockchain. DAOs, have a lot of people that rattled around that want to build dApps, and Arbitrum, the layer 2 there for Ethereum, definitely making the right decisions in my eyes to make that happen. Gary Gensler, more videos. He shouldn't have done this, but he made all his lectures from MIT public, and now folks have gone back and watched all of those videos. And there was a tweet saying the below clip is from fall 2008. 2018, graduate MIT course called Blockchain and Money. This was a quote from Gary Gensler. He said, so we already know in the U.S. and in many other jurisdictions that 3/4 of the market are not ICOs, initial coin offerings, or not what would be called securities. Even in the U.S., Canada, and Taiwan, the three jurisdictions that follow something similar to the Howey test that we've talked about, 3/4 of the market is non-securities. It's just a commodity. It's cash crypto. So that's a great stance. Gary Gensler there, going to have to face the music. And that's probably going to come in the form of getting fired. The last story of note here, Satoshi's Bitcoin white paper has been removed from Apple's OS. So they just couldn't stand it. They couldn't handle it over there. But that was a lot of fun to see. All right, Tim, that is going to wrap out our stories. I am really excited to bring Beamer to our audience.
Yeah, Beamer, what do you got to say to people? This is the Beamer cam. He has been in office. There you go. See, he's tingling with the cords.
There he
Man,
is.
There we go. Boy. Knocked over the light. Just on cue. What are you going to say about that, Beamer? Inspect it. Make sure it's all good. Listen, man. he's a clumsy kid, but dang, does he know the markets?
That's right.
He got that gold chain. He's got that gold chain to prove it. He got that with his profits. Oh my goodness. That was your Beamer cam of the week, and now half of my backlight is gone. Oh, this is awesome. Guys, that
wall behind you has been white this whole time?
Something like that. Oh, man. This was a fun show. Thank you to everybody who was here. Man, for a 40-minute show, we got over those 100 likes. We had 150 concurrent. Phenomenal show, and that was all because of you guys. So thank you so much. We will see you again tomorrow. Again, this was a shorter show, but tomorrow it'll be a little different because while I'll be sitting in this seat with a fully lit backdrop, I don't know if Beamer's going to make another appearance. Maybe if we're up at 32,000, I'll bring Beamer back. But T Shroom and Army Piper, and I believe Crux of Crypto might be joining too, because they will be in Austin, Texas, sitting in a hotel room and still streaming from there. So do not go anywhere. Just because the week is shifting up and it's all crazy does not mean we're not bringing you content. It's just going to be in a little bit different of a form. With that said, though, you guys have an amazing day today. We will see you tomorrow. Go Bitcoin. You guys have a great day.
Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Army pipe, lethal on trade. Entries and exits, worthy of praise. Tim, the professor, the TA. Shout it out loud on the PA. T-Shroom's news got the word, doing better than what he deserves. Beamer, leave no evidence. Soon fly coop with his dividend. Trying to make paper, turn that batter to cake. Money like Lego, connect the dots, stack bank. We are investing bros. We are investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros. Investing bros.